So I got to thinking, what anime needs a remake or just get totally redone? And kind of like Dragon Ball Z Kai treatment or the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment as well. So those are like two examples that I've seen that were done fairly well. And I think anime always need to be run on, especially if they're gotten old. I know sometimes it's hard, like when I go rewatch like anime from like the 1990s or especially really old anime. It's really hard to watch those anime, but even though those anime have very solid stories, and I think when I think about like remaking anime, there's two anime that kind of go into my mind. One anime is kind of fairly, it's recent, but it's not recent enough, and it's fairly popular, and that's Bleach. I think Bleach should be totally remade. It should definitely get like the Dragon Ball Z Kai treatment. What I would do with Bleach is why not go, do the full story, do it without the fillers. There's like arcs that are like not needed. Like I remember in the middle of the big Iran car fight, there was this arc where like the blades have got personalities of their own, and they kind of like rebelled, and it was all really confusing. And it was like really not needed. It was just real like a lot of fluff. And I think there's a couple of those fillers I think that are really known for that. What I would do is just completely remove those fillers and just make one condensed story. And it's still going to be a very long anime. And I think there's a lot of content to produce. And if the anime is still going at a good pace at the end, why not even progress it even more? I think there was like a lot of manga that was produced right after the ending of the anime. I think there was like even a couple of different arcs that were pretty fascinating. Why not just add those arcs? And I think people would definitely like that, because one of the most interesting questions that I always get is like, should I go watch Bleach? And the problem that I would have with recommending Bleach is there's just a lot of different fillers that can just take up your time. And so I think a condensed version would definitely make sense, especially if you're new to that anime. I think the second anime is just an anime that's really hard to find. And I would just say, I think Gundam, the original Gundam, needs a remake of itself. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was done in like the late 70s. And there was some stuff like done in like kind of the 90s, but some of the original stuff was really solid. I've seen there was a couple of years back, they made they did this like Char's story, kind of going prelude to kind of the big where the actual anime starts. So it uses there's like all this stuff happening before that anime. They're kind of showing how the Zeons got formed, and then how we have one of the biggest enemies for that anime, Char, Oswald, who's just a fascinating character. Go watch the origin anime for Gundam if you want to check it out. I really enjoyed it. I love every scene that they use Gundams. The space battles that they had, it was pretty massive. And then they kind of go with classic but fairly modern reses of the characters, which I think is great. But what I would do is just make, kind of do similar to what they did with Origin, just kind of, keep kind of the classic animations of the characters, because I feel like they're pretty fluid. I like what they did with them, but just, upres them, make them more HD, and then, upgrade the battles. There's some really good technology that we have right now. Just make solid battles. I think you could do a really cool job with the original Gundam. And then if that's a success, you can always go into some of the other ones. I was watching like the 08 team, which is kind of the same spear as the Amuro Ray tail. But I can see doing that with the Gundam because it is really hard to find. Like if you're looking to watch that anime, I don't think you can watch it on any of the main streaming channels. I haven't really checked, kind of looking at Crunchyroll, but I don't think you can. But it would be nice to have a version of it, a recently version that can come out that you can hopefully buy for a little bit cheaper than what you can find right now. Those are my two guesses. My third random guess that I could say to make would be like Robotech. Robotech is a series that I always would be interested in to get into just because of the legacy of that anime or the manga, because there's a lot of comics that were written for Robotech. And I just don't think there's anything done recently for the area of Robotech, although I haven't paid attention. If there is something, put it in the comments. If there's a new series or a new manga that they wrote or something like that. But I think definitely making that series more new, because that series, I think, helped, was kind of the guiding blocks for series like Gundam and a lot of the, kind of the robo, that genre that we've seen. Guys, kind of to end this video, what are a couple of anime that you think should be remade? There's some other ones that I've kind of left out, like Cowboy Bebop, or a couple of ones that I think you could definitely do, like Neon Evangelion or something like that. There's some good ones that could definitely get given that treatment. But those are kind of my takes. I hope you have a good day and a good week and have a good time. All right, bye.